Good morning, everybody. It is February 24th, 2025. I know on the Rumble channels and stuff, you all will see this 6 weeks after the fact. If you go to my website, you can keep pace with me. I just came back from a 10-day trip to Iowa. I went and visited another survivor. We stayed on a horse rescue ranch and house sat for those people who went on vacation. So that was a lot of fun. Got to spend time with my friend, who's, as I said, another survivor. Um, I guess I'm bringing this up because when I was there, I didn't really have my TED to do TED Talks, but they did have a bat in their barn and they had a bunch of hay. So I did whack the hell out of the hay with the bat and hollered. Actually didn't holler. Well, the hitting of the hay made the horses nervous, so I only did it one time. I didn't want to freak the horses out. But when I was out on the porch, which was a distance away from the horses, I was able to just holler at the sky. So that was really, really helpful. And um, my friend, because she has experience with horses, found one of those. I don't know if it's called a whip, but it's a thing that trains horses, and it's like a big, long, super long whip. It was like 6 feet tall, just the handle, and 6 foot long rope. But she really she took that and was whacking away at one of the railings in the barn, and she really related to that more than the bat. So I guess I'm bringing it up to tell y'all that if you find something else that you're more drawn to, go for it. It's just a matter of getting your frustrations out. And my friend couldn't really verbalize, and that's okay. Just, you know, try what you can. The funny thing, and I was telling her what to say, how dare you? Stop hurting me, whatever, but she couldn't go there yet, and that's okay. But it was funny because we were driving through downtown Des Moines and she had a couple of cars being bad drivers, and she was felt free and fine to say, come on, and honk the horn and blah, blah, blah. And I looked at her and I said, that is a TED Talk. So if you can holler at someone in traffic and honk at them, there's a part of you that wants to release your frustration. So tap into your frustrated driver and whack the heck out of Ted. Just imagine it's a driver if that's what you feel safe yelling at. Because really, in essence, that driver that you're hollering at when you're actually in your car is someone that has wronged you. Obviously, that driver did, or you wouldn't be mad, but it's someone else too. And so that means there's stuff down there wanting to come up and out. And it feels safe enough to do it driving. And I'm not saying do it driving, but when you're approaching your TED talk, your pillow talk, your bed talk, whatever it is, tap into your frustrated driver and you'll be able to tap into the other parts inside. If you can verbalize in your car, then tap into that car, the part of you that drives and can say, Jack butt, or whatever you say in your car, say it to Ted. And slowly that will evolve into other things. So if you're having a hard time verbalizing, think about driving. Kind of switch the two back and forth. Because if you can do that in your car, that means there's a part of you that feels safe enough to vent. You're in the privacy of your car and whatever. I don't even know if that's private because you got people around you, but if you're in the privacy of your home, excuse me, excuse me, you should be able to do that with a TED as well. And another thing that I did when I was there, the first day we were at her apartment, then we went to the ranch, and then the last day we were at her apartment, before and after I flew. I was in her apartment because I hadn't done tent Talk for a week. I had some anxiety going on, and I was sitting in the tub trying to relax. And it occurred to me, why don't I just grab this towel and holler? Well, first, obviously, I hollered at her and said, "Hey, I'm gonna do some screaming into a towel. I don't want to freak you out." She was like, "Oh, okay." So I just grabbed the towel and into it, I think a couple, three times, and I felt better. And even this morning, when I got back, this morning when I went to do a TED Talk, I was feeling a lot of anxiety. Um, and I hollered at him once, like I normally do. I had my sign out front so no one would freak out. But I don't know why, but we got a little doggy blanket out there. And so I sat down, I picked it up, I screamed into the blanket like five times, and it really helped. And I didn't say anything. Ah, I just had to get out some rage. So, that's what, if you live in an apartment, do that. Holler into a blanket or a towel or whatever. It's going to buffer the sound, but you're going to still get to release your rage. And, I know I did a video a long while back called Pillow Talk, where I took a pillow out to the TED and I hollered into it and I said I didn't like it because I felt like it was going back into my hands. They haven't really done it since until I was in this apartment with the towel. And I made the conscious effort to put my hand, bundled the towel up my hands further away so I wasn't screaming into my hands. And it seemed to make a difference. And but when I grabbed the blanket, I couldn't stretch it the same way. And I just hollered into it. And you know what? I didn't feel like it was going back into my hands. I think because I've released so much, it didn't come back on me, if that was even the case at all. So just gonna recommend that highly. And even in my house here, we've got double pane glass, except for a couple tiny little bathroom windows. Sometimes as I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm working on my parts, and I always have anxiety when I'm working on my parts. It's not terrible, but it's present. I've discovered once I get through all my forms and graphs and I'm done, the anxiety disappears. But sometimes if I'm in the middle of it and it seems to build a little, I will just sit here and scream at the ceiling. So it's not just about hitting Ted. It is, it's helpful. It's a big part, but I got to tell you, that guttural scream, the just letting it out, it makes a difference. Those parts need to release and verbalize what they never got to. So, anyway, I'll get off that. I thought I'm going to do journal readings. So, and instead of having the journal up, because I have to admit, sometimes there's some private stuff between me and my husband that John and I talk about, or there's some other stuff that my husband thinks about my experience that might have ramifications that we don't want. So I'm going to rephrase them. It's still accurate and true and correct. It's just a protection for me and my husband. So anyway, I'm not going to present the journal for y'all to read with me. I'm just going to read it and y'all can just see me. So that's how I'm going to do it. And that way I don't have to put 1,000 little blurs and stickers and stuff all over trying to block out the entry. So this is June 18th of 2024. It's 6 a.m. and I'm sitting in the garden having tea. It just occurred to me, I have far too many clothes that are black. How ironic, because I'm wearing black today. And then I realized, oh, that's a part talking to me. The reason why we wear black blends with everything. It's neutral, it's slimming, but it just dawned on me how much it reminds me of the black robes. And that is Black Brother. Excuse me, Big Brother. So going forward, I'm going to make it a point to buy more colored clothing. Green comes to mind. Actually, all the colors. And I have I've got the whole rainbow in my closet. I just tend to not wear black on camera because I don't want anyone to get triggered. But this morning I thought I ought to be able to wear black and white without it being a connotation of Freemasonry or even Satanism. Black is a color as well as white and all the others. So I said, this chair seems to be the place the parts want to chit chat with me now, which is exactly what I asked for. So I better get my butt out here and sit down at least once a day. It occurred to me as I was drifting off to sleep last night that Chris is about to go on another camping trip. I think he might be gone for 2 or 3 days. All the parts are saying that's the perfect time to quit smoking again. So I'm going to give it a shot. I think he's going tomorrow. That'll be good because my lungs are not enjoying this, and I had a coughing fit last night and this morning, but not too bad. Well, this is what it says. We got, oh, this is just about my husband's friend. He says, we got new Carlos is in the, oh, okay. So Chris is not going to go camping because his friend was in the hospital for his heart. So the trip is off. Chris is very sad today. He went to visit him in the ICU. And I said I had a good session with Jon. And I'm just going to interject here. I'm watching and editing this session before I read the journals so I can keep them in sync. And you'll notice tomorrow as I play the session, I forgot to hit the record button, so we kind of start off in the middle of this thing. So at least you get to hear it here. So this afternoon, I started getting drowsy, but I didn't take a nap. I finished up some research and computer work. I sat down and did the red light and drifted off for maybe 15 minutes. As I got up and was cooking and doing the dishes, I had an amazing realization, a memory. And this is the part called Kitten. The rape that I experienced in Canoga Park in my apartment. Now, I was about, I think 30, 35. Yeah, like 30-ish, early 30s, in my apartment, and the rapist was right next door. I ran into him in the hallway again. As I was trying to get into my apartment, he pushed his way in with me, and I was pushing back on him. I was pissed off. I kept telling him, no more. I've had enough. We've had enough. He had Kitten cornered in the kitchen. She just checked out. We happened to look over and see the block of knives. We were able to get one at first and then a second. Finn and John, who are two of my parts trained with knives, we put it up to the front of his throat and the back of his throat and said, here, motherfucker, try it now. He just froze and didn't move. He wasn't even breathing. The knives were cutting into his skin ever so slightly. I said, if you ever come near us or touch us again, I will effing kill you. I guess they forgot to tell you what else they trained us to do. I'm an effing assassin. There are 5 effing killers in here and you just woke them up. What would you prefer, a slit throat or for us to chop your head off? How about drowning? How about we choke you out? Do you like your balls? He whimpered. They hissed in his ear, don't come near us again. Then they pushed him out with the tip of the knife in his back. Knight locked the door and put a chair under it. Jonathan and Finnegan were furious. They were not having any more of it. Like this song says for my videos that I do, we've had enough. My parts are saying this dude was a pussy. He was pissing his pants. He couldn't even talk. We had him so effed up. And they are roaring with laughter. That is also why when Chris started crossing the line, they came out again and stood over him with a knife and threatened him. They knew that it would work because it had worked on that man. After that, when I ran into him in the hall, he gave me a wide berth. They are just roaring with laughter right now. And Kitten feels fantastic and valued. As I was doing dishes, I was talking to her, saying, you know, Kitten, I'm sorry I brushed over that so quickly and so lightly. I didn't mean to. She said, that's okay, because she did too. And after we had that conversation is when the memory came. It came in small bits, and I saw the knife in my hand holding it at a throat. As I finished washing dishes, I got the rest of it. I'm pretty sure that man knew the signals for kitten, obviously, but he had no idea of the rest of my training. Because if he had, they would have sent someone else. Chris was starting to put on his slacks to go to the store and get some beer. I was so excited because I had the time to be able to sit down and dictate this without going and sitting in my room or in the bathroom and quietly doing it. Before he walked out, he looked at me and said, "I'm just so glad we don't argue anymore." I said, "Me too." I said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was me causing all of that." He said, "You were triggered." I said, "Yes, but I didn't know it." I think the anxiety and upset would build in me expecting something awful, and then you would sense that and push back, and I would sense that and push back, and then we would argue. I said, "But now that I have the memories and understand why it's there, and I get to work on Ted, that's gone now. I don't have that upset rolling around inside of me, and you don't feel it anymore." He said he was glad too. I told him that that's what John said is the way it's supposed to work. Chris said, "I'm very glad." So he came over and gave me a hug, and I kissed him. The part feels pretty good about that, too. Chris had a hard day today. His friend called him very early in the morning, about 6 a.m., to let him know that he was in the hospital overnight. His heart was giving him problems again. He's, I think, around 70 years old and has had 4 stents put in, but this time they can't do another one. They're just going to give him medication to handle it. Chris is worried because he doesn't eat right or exercise. Chris is worried that he's going to pass away soon. He's known Carlos for over 30 years and they've gone camping and shooting and all sorts of stuff. They were supposed to go camping tomorrow, but obviously that's canceled. I'm just so proud of all the parts and how they take care of each other. Thank you so much, Jonathan and Finnegan, for protecting Kitten. All the little ones were just out of their mind, and Kitten just took it as another day. After that first one happened, Sadie was just so upset. She cried and cried and cried and cried. She was thinking about why even bother going on. She is the one that is suicidal. She's never gone there, but she certainly thinks about it. So thank you for your rage, and thank you for your skills, and thank you for your absolute courage to go past the wall and take a risk. You guys are brave men. I don't know here. Everyone feels just as proud as a peacock right now. And it just occurred to me that instead of using the real deal machete with the sleeve on it, why not look for a plastic one for practice training purposes? Knight is very excited. He's going to pick up the one that he wants. He just selected a 23-inch knife. Be here in a week. And it's plastic. As I remember it now, I'm understanding that after Jonathan and Finnegan pulled the knife on that man, it was he who moved out very shortly afterwards. It wasn't me. I remember being so relieved that he was gone, but still, I wanted to get out of that place. I was happy when I got promoted and I could move. I'm going to take a short break here because I'm chilled. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. We had a parts puddle, and I think I got everybody in. Now, for those of you who are new, a parts puddle is we're just at the end of the night where I get everybody together and we all lay in bed together. At this time it was, I don't know, maybe 100 parts. But I just get together with them and I say, "Everybody puddle on the bed and let's have a parts puddle," and we talk and chat and whatever. Um, Now what I do is I go to my place that I call Lake City where all my parts live. They're not in the very repressed levels. Now they're subconscious with me. They're either co-conscious with me or just at a subconscious level, and I can tap into them and they can tap into me. And so I go there and just walk around and talk and chat with everyone. So says we had a parts puddle and I think I got everybody in. We hugged and snuggled and I stroked their hair. I told them I loved them. There was one person I tended to leave out. That's the part called Dad. I did get some things from him that were valuable. Attention to detail, efficiency, etc. I told him I'm very sorry that I've been avoiding him. I kept thinking that he was the real deal, but he's not. He is the part. 10 minutes later, he showed me Dad's hands. They were placed together like in prayer, except they were flat and horizontal to the ground. Then he turned them up sideways, and then he rubs them together as though he was washing his hands off. That is a signal for something. I believe that activates a killer. I forgot all about this. So let me see what this is. Placed together like in prayer, except they were flat and horizontal to the ground. Then he turned them sideways and he rubs them together. Oh, so he starts off like this. Oh, I had no idea. I forgot all about this. Well, I'm glad I'm rereading this with you guys and doing it because I will remember that now for sure. It's very conscious now. Thank you, part called Dad. She just ran up and gave me a huge hug. I'm giving her a hug back. She is the part. She is not the man. I get that now. Perhaps we should find a different name for you because it's a little confusing. Why don't you think about that? And since then, his name is called David, because always been one of my favorite names. And it's ironic that I would want my favorite male names to be associated with my dad, but it's the part that emulates my father. At this point in time, I was always very confused about, a perpetrator and then a part inside of me that would mimic that behavior and emulate, my grandmother, my grandfather, my father. It took a long time for me to differentiate that out because because I wanted to hate the person, perpetrator. I also hated that part of me, but in being able to differentiate them and go, okay, I can emulate the qualities that I got from that perpetrator that can be positive and useful, like attention to detail, etc., or strength and courage, or whatever, without being a perpetrator, without being bad, without aligning with that ideology of being evil. It took me months to figure that out. So that is part what's going on here. Also, I was hugging Black Brother. Also, as I was hugging Black Brother, his horns went away and he turned into gray for now. I think I'm going to put him on here. His name now is BB. I think he would like to be white, and you can do whatever you want to, and of course, get rid of all of those rough edges. He likes that. He's smiling. Tasmania and Scratchy says he's very happy to not be spinning and whirling and crazy all the time. He says it's nice just to sit still. I agree. Kitten is just so pumped up, but she has so many heroes to protect her. Or, yeah, even a real one that's sitting in the garage right now, my husband. I agree, Kitten. It's very nice to have so many to protect us. It just occurred to me that I've been avoiding the part called Mom, too. She likes the name Martha. That's just fine. Martha is just starving for love. Martha withdraws. Martha knows how to put her foot down when enough is enough. Martha holds my hand when I don't know what to do. Martha takes care of me when I'm sick. Martha is starving and starving for affection. So again, you'll see the real person, my mother, who holds my hand, and my part who's starving for affection. They're intermingled and confused here. Martha is starving and starving for affection. She wants to be held and cuddled. She wants her hair brushed. She listens to her intuition, and she calls a spade when she knows what's going on. Martha seems to be in the dark a lot, though. Martha was told she was stupid and crazy. Martha was drugged. Martha was yelled at. Martha was belittled constantly. And those were things that my mother went through. And so my part embodied that. Now here's Dad, likes the name David. David is critical and nasty. David is cold and heartless. David needs his way all the time. David is king of the castle. David has no tolerance. David likes to throw his fists and punch other people. David is nasty and cruel. David is a liar. David is calculating and manipulative and cunning. David is a psychopath. David loves Lucifer. David craves the power that Lucifer has. Now, again, all mixed up because that all should have said dad. But I'm starting to differentiate by giving it the part a new name, David. And so as they're confused right here, in time, I'm able to separate Dad the predator from David my part. Now we're back to my mom part. Martha loves Jesus. Martha wants her children to know Jesus. Martha is so sad that she had to pull away from them. Martha was hurt so badly. She doesn't know how to ask for help. Martha waits to be desperate to ask for anything. Martha is hard on herself. Martha chooses nasty, awful, horrible men. Martha does not trust herself. Martha is sad and upset that her children do not get along. Again, this is my mother, but it's the part inside of me that embodies her. Martha eats their shit. Martha is so grateful that Diana helped her in Canada. Martha feels honored by her daughter Diana. Martha is frustrated and anxious simply looking at Mary's name. And Martha gets abused by Angie. Martha feels so alone, but Martha knows how to get through life anyway. Never has any money. Martha sits around watching TV because the things she loves have been taken away from her and there simply is no money for it. But Martha finally got her dream car in the end. Martha had to move a lot. Martha was neglected by her mother, but Martha was loved by her fathers. Martha's mother is a drunk bitch. Martha's sister is a rude, nasty, drugged out bitch. Martha is never thought about by her family with kindness and consideration. Martha was a good, strong worker, was appreciated by her bosses. Martha and Diana can relate to each other. Now, really, what's going on here, my part Martha that embodies my mother, all those things I just read out were my mom that I embodied. And so it's me starting to understand my Martha part. Martha and Diana lived together 5 times, meaning me and my mom. Martha has a very lonely, long, poor life full of struggle. Martha never got much love, and when she did get love, it was hard for her to accept it. It was hard for her to give it. But Martha was there for her children all the time. Martha went out of her way to know her grandchildren. Martha is very proud of her grandchildren. Martha was loved by her grandchildren. All that is my mother, but my part embodied it. Now here's my my dad part again, and it's all written out as David, but I'm going to read it as Dad. Dad is a son of a bitch. Dad loves being a son of a bitch. He sees it as a badge of honor. Dad takes great pleasure in deceiving people. Dad is arrogant and thinks he's a god. Dad believes if he embraces Lucifer, he will get to have his own world someday. Dad is crude, nasty, and cold. Dad doesn't laugh. Dad has a mechanical voice. Dad's laugh is a very deep. But Dad and Diana have the same hair. Dad has green eyes. Dad has the power. Dad is the king of the castle. Mom loves her pets. Mom will care for them even in their worst conditions. Mom will choose the most abused animal for a pet so as to save it from being abused by someone else. But mom will allow herself to be abused by that pet. And that's true. My mom had a really nasty dog in the end. Dad intentionally chose a good Christian woman, hardworking and loving, so as to turn her against her God. His greed and lust for power led him to this choice. Dad is furious that mom left him. Dad is pissed off that he did not outsmart her. Dad thinks she is an idiot moron. How could that possibly have happened to him? He will teach her. Dad lost his meal ticket when mom took his children away. Mom worked like a dog her entire life for little money at menial jobs, but it was good, honest work, and she worked hard. Mom knew how to take care of her body. Mom made sure she was fit and strong for life. After Mom's heart problem, within 1 year's time, she was exercising an hour or more each day and even got a membership to a gym at 80 years old. Mom taught Diana about vitamins and minerals and exercise and plants. Mom really enjoyed plants. Mom loved her dog Tammy, and Tammy was a very difficult dog. So I'm switching back and forth between my mom and dad parts here, and my mom and dad in reality. As I said, it was very confused. And in these journals, it says David and Martha, but in reality, it's my mother and my father. Dad is a sadistic bastard in and out of the military. When he was in and out of the military. Dad had Diana join the army. Dad made her believe that she was supposed to be a sex slave and kill her for other important people. In doing so, he would become powerful through her. Dad was an engineer. Dad was a Mason slash Satanist. Dad was belittled and disrespected by his parents, but desperately wanted their approval. Dad is at war with God. These are my parts as well. My parts embodied my parents' qualities. Mom's love of God is very private and not spoken about. Mom made sure her children were baptized and saved by Jesus. Mom's Syrian family loves and adores her and are so, so sad for the life that she had with Dad. If they had known, they would have come and rescued her again, just like they did when she was an infant, inconvenient and abandoned by her drunken, abusive mother. Dad gave Diana her IQ and her hair. Mom gave Diana her strength of character. Mom has the best laugh in the whole world. Her whole her whole face squishes up into her nose when she laughs. Diana loves to see Mom laugh. Diana made Mom laugh a lot before she died. Excuse me. Mom made sure to let Diana know that she is safe and happy and loved in heaven with Jesus. But Angie and Mary cannot hear Mom. Angie and Mary cannot see Mom. She takes great joy in the fact that Diana can see her and feel her and hear her. And I'll just interject here because there is a supernatural world. And those of us who've experienced SRA know it. And if you're not co-conscious with your parts, you may not know it. I mean, if you are conscious with your occult loyal parts, you'll probably be aware of the supernatural, but it's within a cult loyal part. You need to find the parts that are saved to be able to find those supernatural parts that are saved. Anyway, Mama, I love you. I miss you. Jesus wanted to take you then so that I could do this now. Thank you. Mom loves Chris and Dixie. Mom says to hang on to them forever and ever. Mom says John is a good egg too. Hang on to him. Mom is also telling Scratchy to hang in there. Those eyes will get fixed eventually. And I'll interject that here. Y'all look back on my June sessions. You'll see all the red from my skin flaking and peeling off. It does it like every 30 hours. But since I've been doing this work, it's healing. My skin is healing. As fast as I would like, no, but it's healing. Yeah. And yes, I've been using frankincense mixed in with olive oil and started off with 10 drops per 1 tablespoon of oil, but now it's like 30 or 40 and it's really accelerated and it's healing. So any of y'all out there have problems with your skin, try some frankincense mixed in with olive oil. Um, it works. My husband's had a spot on his head for like a year. Oh, geez. And his is slowly healing as well. So I'm just crying and I told Mom that I miss her so much. She told me to let Diana be her mama now, meaning the part Martha, my mom part. See, again, it's all mixed up. It took a long time to separate out. Mom told me to let Diana be the mama to Martha now, but it will never be the same. She says it will just, Mom says it will just be as good. And my mom held my hand and kissed my cheek that night. Be happy in heaven, Mama. I will come and hug you in heaven when I get there. Dad, burn in hell for eternity. Suffer and suffer and suffer mine and God's wrath. And you will see the rest of this journal read out in the session so that we don't have a ton of redundancy here. I don't think I'm going to read these other two out because I read them out in the session. Um, yeah, so maybe I'll just do this differently now because if something is not read out or I forgot to record the session, I'll read it out in the journal here, but I think it might be very redundant doing it. And I'm sorry for all these weeks and months that I have, but you learn as you go, right? So hopefully this will work out better. But I just wanted to read that journal because it didn't get recorded and talk about, the hollering into the towel and all that. And I think that's it. I guess that's it for today then. Thanks everyone for listening. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day. God bless you all. And I ask Jesus to watch over and protect all of you, to surround you with impenetrable shields of his love, with his holy angels standing guard, to send his warrior angels to you in times of spiritual warfare. I ask him to increase our knowledge, our understanding, our wisdom, our discernment. I ask him to give us eyes to see him, ears to hear him, a heart to feel him and cleave to him, and a voice to speak his words in wisdom. I ask Jesus to bind all the powers, principalities, spiritual wickedness, and dark forces in all places, on all planes of existence from you, to block all astral projection to you. I ask Jesus to surround you with those impenetrable shields around you, your loved ones, your homes, your pets, your property, your vehicles, and your travels, to protect you and for God to keep you close to him. God bless you all. And I ask God to give you exactly what you need when you need it on your journey. Thanks, everyone. I love you. See you next time.